Hey y'all, I'm Chase with River Region Rental, and today we're going to show you how to replace the tarp on a hydraulic tarping system and on an electric spring tarp system. So let's get started. We're going to do the hydraulic first. We've got a brand new battle mesh tarp from United Tarps, thanks to George and Christian. The next thing we got is from Durand with Couger. Oh, this is a nice surprise. I didn't even ask for this, and this is the American flag tarp. That's going to look killer on our white Cougar trailer. So that'll be the next one we do. We'll start on the SWAT SA. This is the Shurco SWAT by Donovan, single axle system, all hydraulic. So it's a rack and pinion here, hydraulically extending, and then the torsion for the tarp is actually in the drum up top, versus on the spring electric for the Cougar, the torsion is in the springs down here at the mounting bracket. So we'll show the differences of those and how they operate in a minute, but we'll get into what you need and what you have to get this job done. So I've got my wireless remote for the tarp system. Don't need it, but that's going to make it a little bit easier. A couple of socket sets, absolutely you're going to need. On the SWAT, we're going to need a 1/2 and a 9/16. So if you have got a speed ratchet or an impact gun, that'll definitely help speed the process up. Obviously, want to use those with caution, not to over tighten or strip anything out. Always start your nuts and bolts by hand. And then some hardware is another thing that you're going to need. If you have the factory Donovan tarp, it attaches to the drum with a channel that's got a tube in it, and it goes into the wing to prevent it from coming out. If you're replacing a United tarp or another type that's attached, you're gonna need a little bit of hardware that may not come with it. So the hardware you're gonna need for this install on the Shurco SWAT SA is a 5/16 18 by 3/4 inch hex head. I would encourage you to get stainless steel. It costs nothing extra hardly, very minimal. I think we spent $5 on hardware here. So at Lowe's, if you get it there, JBD, as in John Boy David, or Juliet Bravo Delta, is the code for the bolt. It's 396461, item number 396461. The fender washer is, I think it's 1 1/4 for the 5/16. It's ZBA, Zebra Boy Adam, or Zulu Bravo Alpha. Yeah, $5 is what we spent here. And then the final surprise, this is a special tool. You'll need this. Donovan offers 2 different winding tools, and you can do this without these tools, but it's a good bit more difficult. So this is the winding arm, or the crank arm. It's actually got a handle on it like a boat winch on a trailer. They also make a winding disc as well. This obviously is going to give you a little bit more leverage. One of the system runs the disc, one of the system runs the crank arm. Depending on the axle shaft, they might be universal, but you should get this with your truck. If you didn't, contact your upfitter, let them know that you didn't get it. And if you bought the truck used or something like that and you don't have a direct relationship with the person who installed the tarp, just reach out to the tarp manufacturer and tell them that you need one. Says that the decal part number on here is 1705804. I don't know if that's the actual part number for the cranking arm, but regardless, you can get this from your tarp manufacturer, or your tarp system manufacturer. So we're gonna get up on the truck. I brought the flatbed with me today to kind of give me a nice platform to crawl on. I'm gonna load this all up. We're gonna get started. All right, so I'm gonna start off with a disclaimer for anybody in the South or I don't know, maybe out Midwest if it's not cold, or I don't know what y'all's weather's like there. It's weird, y'all get that white stuff on the ground. This stuff is going to be absolutely blistering hot. And if you set your sockets and stuff down for more than a couple minutes in the sun, you're gonna know. So starting off, this system has a gear with a paw to prevent it from rolling back. So while you're working on it, when it's under tension, you can engage that paw to stop the gear. Now, we've got to remove this cover, panel, plate, whatever you want to call it, to gain access to that. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with a 1/2 inch. We're gonna get a socket and ratchet on this side, and we'll use the speed ratchet on this side to get it off. So that comes off just like this. It's got a 1/2 inch bolt with a washer on one side. To keep from losing anything, I'm gonna slide it right back up in and put the top washer back on, put the nut back on. I'm gonna set that aside so we can use it later when we're done. Now, I'm gonna swap 1/2 inch to the 9/16. We'll do the same on the speed ratchet. Actually, I'm gonna hold on to the 1/2 for just a second. I'm gonna show you how the winding arm goes on. So the winding arm is gonna slide directly over the shaft of the axle here, the axle that the drum is attached to, and it's got a 1/2 inch bolt as well. So I'm gonna stick that right on there and put this on tighten. And actually, we're gonna get a little bit more oomph. Instead of using the speed ratchet, I'm gonna use the impact. Now I'm not gonna hammer it down, but just at the first. That way I got some good engagement there. So don't forget, in addition to these being hot from sitting in the sun, once you put a little work into them with these impacts, they'll obviously be even hotter. So definitely be careful with burning yourself there. All right, so this is the paw and the gear that I was talking about. So right now, the through bolt going through the axle shaft is what's keeping this from spinning because it's under torsion. It's internally loaded with springs. So what I'm gonna do is with one finger out of the way of the teeth, I'm gonna pull the paw and I'm gonna get one finger beneath the head of the bolt so that when I take the tension off, it doesn't just drop free. Hang on, there we go. So I've got the paw engaged with the gear, and so long as I don't move it too much, which I just did, there we go, I'll put it right back in with the meat of my hand. So the paw is engaging with the gear and it's keeping this from spinning, and I've got that 9/16 bolt out. So from here, we're gonna be able to release the tension on the tarp, and I'm gonna move some of these tools so that we can access this. All right, so I'm just coming up off the tray. That way it's not binding. But now that I got a little slack here, I'm gonna maintain a grip and start letting the tension or torsion out of that tarp system. All right, so from here, we're gonna take the tarp all the way over to the end, probably get down to the ground and unattach it. We'll see what that looks like. All right, so from the rear here, you can do this from the ground, or you can do it from, you back up a pickup truck, stand on the tailgate right here or to the side. In the middle is about the best, but when you let your tailgate down on your pickup truck, extend your arms all the way so that when you bring this down, you're all the way down here to you. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull these 5 bolts off. You need 5 of them to attach from the grommets. You don't have to have a deep well here. So this is now unattached from the rear. All right, so the front attachment point on here is this round tube that comes across to this flat flange. So to get this off, you're gonna take a 7/16. It really helps to use a deep well here because you can get that angle because of how tight it is. But if you take your impact or something, put it in reverse, come on top of here. Now, keep in mind, there are going to be washers on here. This has got 1 split washer on the nut side, nothing on the head side. All right, so I'm gonna put all this back together, but just to show you what we've got the end plate cap, which goes in the middle. From the inside, you're gonna have this 7/16 hex head. On the outside, you got a split washer and a nut. Same thing on the other hole. And then by screwing that back together, you know you're not gonna lose anything. We're gonna go to the passenger side and do the exact same thing. Again, round end plate, cap, center section from the inside out. I want to rebuild this just so that we don't lose anything. Now, we are free. Getting this off, there's kind of 2 ways you can do it. You can let one side loose and walk it, or you can let both sides loose and stand it on end. I'm gonna show you that option. So you can pull the whole thing free, come to one side, pull the tube out. Now you're free. You can set it back up there for a moment if you need to, just to get it out of your way. Just be very careful right there. You're only within about 1/8 of an inch of tolerance before it falls out. Then you can get the old tarp out of here. You're gonna slide this back in the front mounting hole pocket. So the 7/16 nuts and bolts go back with the split washer on the side of the nut again. All right, so we're going to tighten this side back down. Bro, I literally sheared it in half. Here's a pro tip. If you've got an impact with a Smart Stop sensor, where as soon as it feels impact, it stops, use that and then go back and snug it up by hand. Because otherwise, you're definitely likely to shear some of this hardware. Especially when we do the back. The back is going to be stainless steel hardware going into aluminum, extruded aluminum. So definitely got to be careful there. I guess we didn't need that box anyways. So we're done with 7/16. Hey, this tarp is casting some nice shade. Can you see my drip, my sweat drip out of my brim? Oh, wow. See if you can get that.
Yeah, let's see. Got
it. Bro. So on the winding drum for this tarp system, there are 3 different grooves, if you will. 360 degrees around the circle or the drum. Every 120 degrees, there's a different one. 2 of them are T-slots, and there are various different size and depth configurations on the T-slots. The third one, the one that we're gonna use with the hardware that we discussed earlier, it's threaded. You can't really tell because it's extruded, so it just looks like it's serrated, but it's actually threaded to match that hardware that we discussed earlier. So if you take your tape measure and measure all the way across this drum, you'll find that it's dead on at 99 1/4. What that means is we're gonna go to 49 5/8, and I've already put a center mark here with a Sharpie. That center mark is where so the center mark is at 49 5/8. And then what we're gonna do is I actually like to start from one edge and move in. The nice thing about the edge is that first one, you can actually slide in. So you come right to the edge, boom, and just come in from the side. And then to keep the wind from blowing it away, like has been happening to us, you're gonna slide that in deliberately too far, more than it actually needs to be, so that you can come to the other end and do the same thing. Once you're in, you can take that slack back up, and then take your center, align with your center mark, and be very careful to make sure to start these threads by hand so you know they don't bind. Get them as far as you can by hand, and then align it with the center mark that you measure out with a piece of Sharpie. As you're threading them in by hand, you want to go as deep as possible to make sure that you're engaging multiple threads and not just the first or second thread, because you don't want to strip it, you don't want to cross thread it, or do anything that could damage that extrusion. Since it's integral, it's not a replaceable part. I mean, you'd have to replace the whole drum. But once you're there, you can double check. Looks like I was off by about that 5/8. It's close, but this is what the fine tuning's for. Once you put it on, you can't really see that center mark. It just gets you close. About an 1/8. You can also tell by measuring there, 3 3/8. A little less, but that's spot on at 49 5/8. So now we'll tighten that one up, just snug. That's all we need is just snug. And then pull the slack to the outside, snug that one up. Pull the slack to the outside. Snug that one up. and then we'll wind the arm. So once the tarp is stretched out, attached at the front and the back, you're gonna want it to go underneath and up so that the stitched edge is facing up and it's attached to the back of the drum. The handle has an arrow indicating when we're looking across the driver's side to the passenger side that we're gonna go counterclockwise. So we're rolling the drum from bottom to top back towards the cab. So this is supposed to take 7 to 8 rotations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 8 is there. Now don't forget the paw that you can engage to hold it. You can look up through the hole. There it is. So it's 2 clicks past. I like to take the bolts and go head down, tip up. The reason I like to do that is because the shallow well socket can go on the bottom with the deep well on the ratchet on top. And just snug that up there, no impact needed. Once that's on, you can swap back for your 1/2 inch setup. I'm gonna pop the handle off. For just a second. And then we'll go back up with it. And this is where we'll see if we need to put any more turns on it. I can already tell you from looking at it that we do. So I'm gonna bring it back towards me. Put a couple more turns on it. I'll put 1, 2. Someone told me 7 to 8 turns. I think 10 or 12 is better. All right, I'm pulling it until it's relatively tight. All right, from here, I'm gonna do a final snug up. On this 9/16 bolt. And then we'll switch back to the 1/2. Take this cranking arm handle off. And take the cover for the gear and the paw. Put it back on. Make sure that it's not engaged so that it's free. And the way it goes on is the bent tab going down, which is pretty easy to figure out once you hold it up there. And that's it. All right, y'all, now we're gonna do the tarp replacement on the US Tarp from Couger Manufacturing trailer. This is a 20K GN, and it's got the electric tarp on it, so I'm gonna power that up. This thing's been sitting a while, so I'm gonna give it a little help. Just apply a little pressure on the arms here, help it get all the way up. You can see where the tarp is torn down the side. I'm gonna go pretty much all the way with it. About right there will work. We can access our bolt heads, nuts from there. I think this is gonna be 7/16. Oh, it looks like we just ripped one. I'll go over the top with it. So on this system, you're gonna need a 1/2 inch on this end, 7/16 on that end. I think, yeah, we're only gonna have to take one side out here. Take your bumper off. Just give it the old shimmy shuffle there. This tarp installs in the reverse order of the other one. This one, the sewn loop goes to the rear and the grommets go to the front. And to anybody who would take offense to me having this spread out on the ground, understand that this isn't actually a flag, so it's not a violation of flag code, and it is also not a disrespect to the flag requiring burning, because this is the image of a flag on something else. So fun fact, just like flag swim trunks, t-shirt, something like that, it's not what a lot of people think it is, mistaking it for disgracing the flag, because the US flag code specifically refers to garments made of actual flags, which this is obviously not. I truly think this is probably about the hardest part of this whole job. So the inside of this is threaded, or appears threaded. BFH. Oh man, forgot to put this guy on. Well, that'd be okay. That's about it, and 5/16, 7/16 Meyer. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys another little tip that I just figured out. When you're securing the tarp at the front with those 5 nuts and bolts, Pick your $20 sawhorses up off the ground, put them on your fender, put it at a 45, and that'll ease up some of the tension while you secure. And then, if everything goes as planned, you've got a brand new, functioning and rolling American flag tarp for your US Tarp spring electric system. Thanks for watching. It's hot, we're gonna go get in the pool.